Welcome everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the art in the post-Mayuryan period. In the post-Mayuryan period, art was very much developed, and so we will discuss about the development of art in the post-Mayuryan period. So let us start with our video. So there were major three centers for the sculptural art in the post-Mayuryan period. They were Gandhara, Madura, and Amravati, out of which Gandhara and Madura were in the northern region, while Amravati was in the lower Krishna Godavari valley, in the southern part almost. So, there were three major centers. They were Gandhara, Madura, and Amravati. Firstly, we will discuss about Gandhara art. So, Gandhara art, we can see many sculptures, out of which seated or standing Buddha seems to be most important. So the Gandhara style is seen in seated or standing Buddha. And the main features are seated Buddha is always cross-legged. Seated Buddha is always cross-legged, and there are some physical marks also for identifying the Gandhara style. They are the Buddha is having Usina, Urna, and elongated ears. In the next slide, we will discuss elaborately about this. So the physical marks are Usina, Urna, and elongated ears. No earrings or ornaments are used in Buddha idols in the Gandhara art. No earrings or jewels are used. And there are some particular mudras that we can see in the Gandhara style. They are Abhaya, Dhyana, Dharmachakra, and Bhumisparsha. These four are the major mudras we can see in the Buddha sculptures of Gandhara art. And the chief patrons of the Gandhara art were the Shakas and Kushanas. Shakas and Kushanas were the protectors of the Gandhara art. And we can see the Gandhara sculptures from Jalalabad, Hadha, Bhamaran, and Taxila, and many parts also. So, this is what is called Urna or Usina. See here, this topmost hair knot of Buddha is called the Usina, and a hairy mole in the forehead is called Urna. So Usina is what? Usina is the topmost uncut hair which is placed in the topmost head. That is Usina. And Urna is the hairy mole in the forehead of Buddha. So these are the four mudras in the Gandhara art, among which the first one is Abhaya Mudra, which means do not fear. Second is Dhyana Mudra, in which his both hands are placed in his lap and the palm is faced in upward direction. That we can see that both hands in his lap and palm is faced in upward direction, which signifies meditation only. The third is Dharma Chakra, which is associated with his first sermon in Saranath. So it is Dharma Chakra Mudra. And the fourth is Bhumi Sparsha. That is, he is touching the earth with one of his hand. So it means that he is calling the earth to witness his enlightenment at Bodhgaya. So it Bhumi Sparsha signifies his enlightenment at Bodhgaya. He is calling the complete earth to witness it. So these are the four mudras in Gandhara style. The next style of art is the Madhura art. In Madhura art, the significant features are standing Buddha with feet apart. So Buddha's feet will be apart and a lion or lotus is situated between them. Between his feet we can find a lion or a lotus. And Kabardin, it's a term used for Usina in Madhura art. Usina is referred as Kabardin in Madhura art. Usina means the top knot in the head, which is of the uncut hair. And Urna is also present here. Seated Buddha is mainly in the yogic position, this Padmasana. In the yogic position, the position is called Padmasana. Seated Buddha is mainly in Padmasana. And two turbaned male figures are also present in Mathura art. In Mathura art, in both sides of the deity, we can see turbaned male figures. That's the most significant point of Mathura art. And Sarvato Bhadriga, which is four giants standing back to back, which is also a famous sculpture and is an example of Mathura art. Sarvato Bhadriga. And Hindu icons in the Mathura art emerged with the Shiva and Vaishnava sect. When the Shivite and Vaishnava sect came, they used to make Hindu icons also. And standing sculptures of kings and notables are also present in Mathura art. Mathura art does not made only these worshipping idols, but sculptures of kings and other notable persons are also made in Mathura art. For example, Kanishka's portraits were also made in Mathura style. That is an example for Mathura art. Mathura art used to make sculptures of kings and notables also. See, these are some of the examples of the Mathura sculptures. That is, we can see the feet of Buddha are apart and a lion or lotus is present between his feet. And we can see this is Kabardin, that is the Usina is there, and Urna, the hairy mole, is also present. Okay, so these are the examples of Mathura art, and this is the Sarvato Bhatriga, that is four jinas standing back to back. This is also a significant feature of Mathura art. And the next style of art is Amravati art, which is found in the lower Krishna Godavari Valley, that is almost in the southern India. So it is found in lower part of India, and it is one of the most prominent art in India with Gandhara and Mathura. And Amravati art was patronized by Satavahanas. It was patronized by Satavahanas or the Andhras. And this type of art influenced art in Sri Lanka, East Asia and South India also. So we can see in the southern part of India, we can see the presence of Amravati art. So up to now we had discussed about the three major art styles in the post-Mayuryan period. They were the Gandhara art, the Mathura and the Amravati. And we had seen the features and some examples of the sculptures also. Now in this video we will also discuss about Hinduism in the post-Mayuryan period. So in Vedic age we had already discussed about the most important gods. Now we will discuss what happened to Hinduism in the post-Mayuryan period. In post-Mayuryan period, most of the Vedic gods passed to oblivion. Most of the Vedic gods lost their importance. And now the concept of Trinity of gods with Brahma as the creator, Vishnu as the preserver and Shiva as the destroyer came. So the Trinity of God concept came in the post-Mauryan period. Before this age, in the Vedic age and all, we can see Indra, Agni were most important. Then in the later Vedic age, there was Vishnu was important, and Prajapati was important. Now in the post-Mayuryan age, the Trinity of gods came. And Vishnu and Shiva, among the Trinity, Vishnu and Shiva emerged as supreme. From there, the Vaishnavite and Shivite sect has been made. That is, Vishnu and Shiva become the most important among this Trinity also. And cow become important object of worship. Cow become an important object of worship. Vaikunta and Kailasha become sacred. Vaikunta belongs to Vishnu and Kailasa belongs to Shiva, which were also important. And Ganges got prominent status. And the water of Ganges is believed to be coming from heaven and is having a purifying effect. And people and water were considered sacred. People, tree and water were considered sacred. Brahmanas continued to go with Vedas. In this post-Mayuryan period also, Brahmanas were concentrating on Vedas while people accepted Puranas, epics and Dharma Shastra. And epics like Mahabharata and Ramayana were most important. So people accepted Puranas, epics and Dharma Shastra while Brahmana continued with Vedas. So this was the status of Hinduism in the post-Mayuryan period. So in this video we had firstly discussed about the art forms and three major art forms that were Gandhara, Mathura and Amravati, and the Hinduism in post-Mayuryan period also. So thank you everyone for watching this video, and for more such videos please subscribe to the channel General Studies.